Holy moly, that music. I'm still there going, that's a very awake and very alive after that music. That's immense. Good evening. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. Welcome to Talkin Kop. We don't have the name of the show. It's just the Monday Night Cop
Yeah.
or something, right?
Yeah.
On tonight, we've got Gav, obviously. Gav sporting his new look, where he's trying to be, for anyone who's old enough that's in the chat that remembers this, is Higgins from Magnum PI with Tom Selleck.
Did you send me the photo of him?
I'm going to send it to you now.
Yeah.
Higgins, it's good to see you, Higgins.
Thanks. I don't know who Higgins is, but I should really look it up. No, I've had some great ones. I've had someone the other night called me, said you look like Paul Bearer from the wrestling. Someone else said I said that I looked like I was waiting for season fucking 6 or 7 of Boardwalk Empire to come out. There was fucking some great shouts. I'm sure more will come in tonight. You reckon I look like Jimmy Greaves. Jimmy Greaves isn't a bad one, actually.
The only other one I have that's in my head is that you and Harry Malloy should do an Irish version of Twins.
No, funny you say that, right? Harry Malloy, right? Because, right, we still go through this phase, right? I took a picture once, right? A selfie of myself once at my front door with a smoke hanging out of my mouth, right? Don't know what it was for. One of the WhatsApp groups, having a bit of crack one day. But this photo, or this image, ended up being put onto loads of different characters, including Saddam Hussein, right? And it just went all over the place. I've had it's being put onto John Daly, the golfer. Right, Ray Brady does it all the time, but I've had it on fucking Michael J. Fox from Back to the Future, all sorts of stuff. But one of the best ones of all time, we actually stuck it on Harry Malloy from Fair City. I will go and find it, and there was a massive conversation in the WhatsApp group for about 3 hours about it, where people just laughed for fucking hours. So if anyone else has any suggestions as to what I look like, shout it at, because some of them have been fucking amazing.
You just need to let your hair grow a wee bit on top. You need to give it.
If I was bald on top, I'm Willie Thorne. I'm telling you now, the snooker player. Yeah, absolutely.
Where was it? Oh yeah, so good evening, welcome out to the show. We've got Higgins, aka Harry Malloy's twin, aka Paul Bearer, alongside me. On the other side, of course, I have my good friend and colleague, Mr. Peter Smith. Doesn't need any extra names to go along with that, because everyone knows who he is. Unless you're watching Netflix and you saw him in Who Killed Aaron Carter, or Who is Aaron Carter? Where is Aaron Carter? What is the crack with Aaron Carter? What is the story with Aaron Carter? Where is she done? Episode 4, Pete killed someone. I'm not ruining it for you. It doesn't really make a blind bit of difference in the long shot of the thing, but he does kill someone, which I'm fairly proud of him. So well done for killing someone again.
You asked, Gav, did you go around to my mum's to fix her fridge in 1983? No, it wasn't me, brother. Go on, sorry. This could take over now.
Yeah, I know. So we could talk about football, or we could talk about this all night long. I don't mind which way it goes. We've got three topics we want to talk about, and then we'll do a quick fire round at the end, which I like doing a quick fire round just to see what goes on. So the topics we have tonight, actually, let's start it up. Gav, we'll come back to yours last. So Pete, what's yours?
Luis Diaz. Keeping it positive. Listen, with the amount of fellas. Shall I start with the obvious? With the amount of fellas that drop to their knees, hold it, and are out for 6 months with a swollen, eye socket and faking injuries to go here and go there. I mean, when you look at what that fella has been through and what he continues to go through, to be chomping at the bit, to continue training and continue doing his job, and then to walk onto that pitch and be the only bit of class on it, to be quite honest. I mean, it was a nice tail end story, considering the ghoulishness that you guys covered last night. I don't even want to dignify Luton fans by talking about them tonight, to be honest. And that's another thing that will disappear back into the 80s, along with Gav's moustache. Will be Luton Town at the end of the season and never to be seen again, to be honest. And at the end of the day, yeah, let's not talk. Let's focus on Luis Diaz and what an absolute hero he is. I can't even imagine No, none of us can imagine what that's like. I mean, you read about that in books, you see it on TV shows, people getting taken from their families. But in all seriousness, for that to happen and to still have the, I won't even call it professionalism, just the moral courage as a human being to be amongst people and do what the lad has done. Forget about the goal. Forget about anything he did, but to do what he does and to continue, I can't even fathom it. Can't fathom what he does. So I didn't want to really talk about anything else. Well, that's a lie. I obviously wanted to talk about them Egypts yesterday, but it's better to keep it positive and talk about someone that is worth talking about, and that's Luis Diaz. For me, I've never seen that like that in my life, and I hope we never have to see that kind of courage. But it's typical Liverpool. We've been in dark places before, and we always sign great characters, and
But
it goes to show you,
do you not, Pete? Like, there's two aspects to this. Like, my biggest concern and question over him was he going to deliver in terms of the goals that his talent seems to belie, and he's been, in my opinion, this year he's been a guy for the big goal, and it's sort of Dirk Howe plus. Do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
probably going to end up at 15, 16 goals this season, which is a great return for a guy playing it off wide. And sometimes people's personalities are different. So he could well be the one that's really spurred on to try generate interest, publicity, whatever he can for the benefit of hopefully a successful resolution when it comes to his father back in Colombia. So, like, without sounding callous, because football is a bit callous these days, but that's only can only benefit Liverpool and us as the fans. Do you know what I mean? But like, you can't. And I questioned him last year. Like, it's a hard thing to question this year. Like, anyone that's been playing up top for us has been great. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and for him to continually step in and do what he's done for us when he's played there, particularly in that three with Salah and Nunez and himself, it's a credit to him, and it's the big moment. It's the big moment again. A loss yesterday. Look how stupid the results have ended up over the weekend. Right, we didn't capitalise on the opportunity that was there, but a loss there, and it's poxy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not a great result. But I saw many people losing their heads. But lads, as you know, often sometimes points that you pick up when you look like you're going to lose them are the points that make the difference at the end of the season. I do think you can't afford to drop points in those games if you want to win the league, just because of the way it's bought by City. Do you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, to get top four, to challenge for league titles, to be in there with a shout, we're 3 points off City at the moment. Do you know what I mean? It's that's what you want. So yeah, I agree with you on the Diaz show. I think to retain his focus and his ability to play the way he is an absolute credit to the guy. And hopefully he maintains that. Gav?
I was thinking a bit about this today because we covered it last night a little bit towards the end of the show, obviously because we were talking about the game and he scores the equaliser and stuff. But when you look back at his Liverpool career, he comes in the January of, I want to say 22. I'll be right in saying that. Yeah, the January 20. Yeah, and like, in fairness to him, when he comes in, everyone's really excited about it. There's a bit of a feel off of, like, just go out and play your game because you're not used to what we're doing, but you're that good, just get out there and kind of do it. And he had a good 6 months with Liverpool. The start of last season then, the start of last season, he was our best player. Without a doubt, our best player. Like, head and shoulders above people. And he gets an unfortunate injury at Arsenal that keeps him out for a long time. He's a massive loss. And when he comes back, there's flashes from him and different things, but his will to get back and be back was really big, I thought. The back end of last season, he's still finding his feet, and you can see that. You can see it now because if you look at the start of this season, whereas last season it was kind of, was he sure of himself? Had he got that blistering kind of pace over that 10 yards that he had before? And it probably wasn't there. He was a bit of indecisive. But I think the start of this season again, he's been really, really good. What's happened to him on a personal level, I think he's done brilliantly with this, and I think the club have as well. And what I mean by that is, I think the club have kept it to an absolute minimum. They haven't gone big on it and that's not the club not, caring for Luis Diaz or caring for the situation, but they've obviously gone, listen, we're going to say basically what we have to say on this when Jurgen Klopp is asked in interviews. We're going to make sure you're okay. If you want to come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't. No one will blame Luis Diaz if he was currently sitting in Colombia going, I'm not going anywhere till my father comes home. Do you know the sort of way? And if that takes a week or 6 weeks or fucking 6 months, you know what I mean? What's his employer going to say? You know the sort of way. But I think Liverpool have been brilliant in it. I think he's been brilliant in it. My whole thing on this is that with him making himself available for that game yesterday, hopefully, because I said last night, he'll know more than we do. Hopefully that's a sign that there's some sort of breakthrough being made on this, and he does expect his father to be back. But having said that, it could be his family turning around going, listen, come here, nothing's changed, but there's no point in you being in England and doing nothing. Go and do what you do best. Go and get it out of your system. Sort of way. He comes on yesterday, he's a bright spark again. He gets the equaliser. It was great to see him. I just think he's a credit to himself. I think he's a credit to his family. Forget the football club for a minute. I think he's a credit to himself. I think he's a credit to his family. And you know what? Like we like to say, and we like to kind of think it, but he's at a great place to be supported. He's at a great place to be looked after. He's a fan base, especially in and around the city. That but I actually, do you know what? I'll go as far as to say both sets of fans in the city would look out for Luis Diaz. They know hardship, and they know what it is like to lose people. And they know what it's like to be wronged. So Luis Diaz himself, I think, has been exceptional, and for him to come back and play, I think is brilliant. And hopefully, it's a sign that he's more comfortable to come back and play, because he obviously knows the situation more than us, and we'll see a positive outcome to it in the next ASAP, but hopefully the next few days, or weeks, whatever it is. But no, all credit to him. I think from being a really talented footballer, I think him as a person has gone up in a lot of people's estimations as well, because people don't know what footballers go through. People don't know what their ins and outs are. They're all just humans like the rest of us. But the way he's carried himself and the way he's come onto that pitch yesterday, and who'd have blamed him for coming on the pitch yesterday and having a bleed and someone having a swipe at him, and I'm just giving your man a dick. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? That would have been easy, but he doesn't. He comes on, he scores, and all credit to him, more power to him.
It's just human nature, though, isn't it? To want to take your mind off things, but obviously an awful lot of people are impacted by these type of things. It's very hard to keep your head straight in terms of what you're doing. So you're right, Gav, in terms of like, but it just shows you the measure of the man in terms of being able to compartmentalize and do what he did. And so fair play to him. Yeah, I'll give that to you. I've no issue with it at all. People who make genuine differences and make genuine stands, I'm all for it in terms of what's there. And I fully hope that everything works out fairly for his dad and for him as well, because it's just a horrible situation to be in. There's so much shit going on in the world at the moment. It's like you just. I think we're just sick of the bad news day after day in terms of what we have to watch and what we have to do.
Sorry, Phil. There's also a lot of varying reports around this. The crowd that have kidnapped him have said it was a mistake. Then you've seen they've planned this for weeks. Then you've seen that they're going to release. Then they're not. I'd advise people to just not to worry about social media and reading. Like, honestly, I'm seeing 18 and 19-year-old young fellas that pretend to be journalists fucking quoting Colombian journalists on this and all just for clicks. So sit back and just let it run its course, and I'm sure when the man is released, fingers crossed, we'll know about it. Don't be worrying about all these varying reports. Take them with a massive pinch of salt.
Again, it's where credibility's been lost in terms of, the great things with some social media up to about 5 or 6 years ago was that it improved the information, the news flow and the news cycle. There's now so many false abilities to put stories out there because you're prepared to pay for a tick or whatever you want to do to pump your content up to the top. It's a really tough one for people who are out there. So as you said, yeah, keep an eye on the reputable people who are involved in this, because that's where the news will break properly first. It won't be true as Harry likes LFC, Luis Diaz 92, and he's definitely not reading El Mundo Deportivo from Bogota. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it is in terms of what that is. So it's it's a tough state for affairs. But hopefully, as I said, Gav, hopefully it continues to spur him on to the levels of performance he wants to there, because he obviously sees that's the right way and the right means of displaying his support for his dad and does what's right with it. And I'm sure the team as a whole want to get behind him and support him in terms of what's there. Was there anything else on that, Pete, that you wanted to talk about?
No, I just thought it was remarkable because, Colombia. Listen, I have Colombian family, obviously, and sometimes things like incidents like that can get not lost, but it's not an everyday occurrence by any means, but it's something that's part and parcel, and it's part of the fabric of that country. To be honest with you, it's a cultural thing. It's how a lot of gangs make their money. To be honest, so sometimes things like that can get washed under and the human aspect can get lost a little bit, and the impact. And as Gav alluded to earlier on, there's so many bad things going on in the world. It's almost it's just another bad thing. So I'm looking at the guy being part of things, and it's like anything. We've all been part of clubs or work, and bad things have happened, and that camaraderie can sometimes really save you from going crazy. To be honest with you, and it looks like Liverpool, being the club it is, have embraced that, and I think the whole city have. And I just have so much respect for the guy, chomping at the bit to be part of things, and then getting on and not, as I said, not going the other way, not swiping hooves at people, not being, actually being the only bit of class. If you had been on 15 or 20 minutes earlier, you'd probably win the game, to be honest. But what can you do? Yeah, it's just amazing. The guy just amazes me. I could never do it. Never do it.
On that note, given that he has scored the odd spectaculars, Gav, you want to talk about the death of the worldie in terms of the way football
I think
is played?
whopper goals are going out of football. Like I tell you, the very odd time you get someone going, "What a bleeding goal!" You know what I mean? And you might be doing something else. You know what I mean? You could be out. You could be out doing something. You could be out playing golf. You could, like, the amount of times I've been out playing golf and there might be a whatever match on, and you get someone going, you check your WhatsApp or whatever, and it goes, "Oh, what a bleeding goal," right? And you're kind of going, "Oh, this would be a 30-yard fucking blemmer," you know what I mean? Volley, whatever. And you go in and it's like a fucking 1-2 around the edge of the box, and it's cut back for a fella to header in the goal, and you're like, that's not what a bleeding goal, that's just a goal. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm getting old and maybe I'm just forgetting things, but I genuinely think the whopper goals are going out of football. The ones where you go, holy fuck, like, you know what I mean? The ones where when they hit them, they stay hit. It's. I think it's just gone. And look, it's the way football's gone. Everything's about possession. Everything's about, and it's lovely to watch. Don't get me wrong. And the speed they do with that is amazing. But everything's about angles. Triangles, making angles, getting to the end line, getting around behind teams. And I just want. I think, like, when you look at goals of the season now, is it absolutely whopper goals, or is it just great technical moves? Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, like, can anyone name me a whopper goal this season? Like, a really whopper.
I can name you one, right? I can name you one, right? That Nunes goal in the Marabou Stark Nightmare Cup there during the week, right? Do you remember his first touch was so bad? He was like Jonathan Palmer with the first touch, right? And it took him so far outside where he was meant to be, and then he had to score an absolute blemmer over the keeper, curling rocket. The last time of a goal I've seen like that was, like, do you remember? Actually, your man Origi used to do it all the time for us. He used to love to just cut in on the right hand side and take a shot from outside the box and bend it into the top corner. But Nunes hit that ball like he hated himself for how bad his first touch was. And I think to your point, right?
Like, people are saying there, Szoboszlai against Leicester. That's a good goal. Yeah. Takes it, one touch, smashes it in the top corner, right? And that's a really, really good goal. Nunes is a great goal, because I think it's harder than Szoboszlai's goal, because he cuts inside. It's on the deck and he's curling it as well. Do you know what I mean? He's not just smashing it. I think they're going out of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember watching Match of the Day. But I remember watching Match of the Day. Do you remember you used to watch goals on Sunday? And nearly every week you'd be going, "Did you see that bleeding goal your man scored? He just hammered it." You know what I mean? And it's not. I think I'm not saying they're not there. That's a stupid thing to say, actually, and I probably did say it, so I apologise. But it's just the regularity of goals getting smashed into goals. Do you know what I mean? I think it's.
Do you think though? Do you think right? So remember, like when before Thiago retired, there. Remember he scored that goal in Europe last year, and it was deadly, right? Do you think though? Like, you're right. The style of football has changed. It's all about, and there's statistics to prove that there's less shots being taken from outside the box than ever before, right? And I think it goes deeper than this. I think kids are so well coached these days and are brought through so many academies that the years of just hitting belters, right? Because like the coaches are saying, don't take it. You know, you're giving away possession. It loses possession too quickly. You know, it gives the ball back to the opposition team if it goes out for a goal kick, yada yada yada, and we mightn't get it back. And we have to do this, we have to do that. But like, fellas used to, when you're growing up, you used to just go out and just try smash the ball as hard as you can into a goal. You know what I mean? I used to be really excited as a kid, as a 10-year-old child, when they put the nets up in front of the goal, and I'd just go out with a ball and just absolutely start hitting the ball as hard as I can into the net. Nowadays, they want to be like Messi and just rolling around and take the ball, pass and dribble it in and pass it into the net. Even like, the other thing is that I think goalkeepers are shit an awful lot at shots these days. Like, there's too much focus now on being able to pass the ball, right? You're looking at some of these things. Did you see that goal that Martinez let in against them for Villa this week?
Where was he? The five-a-side.
Like, you couldn't put down any goal that Onana's let in for United this year as being anyway decent, and half of them was being like shots that wouldn't have even registered back in the day. You know what I mean? It's
maybe I'm just yearning for that. You know, Stuart Pearce lashing the ball, Mihajlovic lashing. Remember your man off Mihajlovic, was it?
Lazio,
lashing the ball.
Yeah, very famous racist. Yeah,
very famous racist. Okay.
It was, yeah.
Let's not talk about that. But he's some left foot. He's an incredible.
But you know what I mean? Like, just like Reese just used to go, listen, I'm just hammering this. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying like go back to the days where the football was shite but fellas lashed the ball hard. I'm just saying, do you know what I think it's come from? I think it's actually come from the fact that Liverpool stopped shooting from outside the box for about 3 years. Like, genuinely stopped. Like, you'd never get an incident where the ball would break and 25, 30 yards out and you go, he's hitting that. He wouldn't.
Except
he
Mo.
Just spread it. He just spread it. Yeah, Mo just loves coming in and hitting that. But just spread, you know, he'd spread it wide. You know, the sort of way. And I think it's kind of come back into me thinking, because Szoboszlai definitely loves him. And I think Gravenberch, I think, is following in suit. He loves getting the ball and getting around his feet and hitting it. And when I'm seeing this now, probably from Liverpool, it's making me think, are they going out of the game? And I think they are. I'd love to see the average distance goals are scored from, right? Now, as opposed to even 10 years ago. I'd say the average distance has shortened considerably. You know what I mean? When you add in the amount of long shot goals that are there.
I think there's a valid thing being said in the chat there. That's also right. So the balls have gotten lighter, right? Mm-hmm. But the boots are less made out of leather these days. Could it be that the softer boots, right? You know the way, like, and I'm not saying that like a harder boot allows you to do it, right? But just that the actual contact doesn't allow for absolute. Because you know when you're on the beach in Ireland and you're playing football and you hit the ball really hard with your foot and it's really sore. But if you had a pair of Predators on you and you hit the ball really hard, it wouldn't be sore. Is it that the boots, could the boots have an impact? Do we need to do a science test on this?
But the ball's lighter, so it doesn't really make a difference. Do you know what I mean?
It is hard though.
Yeah, I know, but look, let's be honest about it. Players design their own boots to within an inch of their lives. Like, if it was going to hurt them because they're kicking the ball, they're going to say, listen, that's hurting me because, you know, the leather's not...
I'm not saying it's hurting them. I'm just saying it's not as cushiony.
But we're not... Yeah, I don't know. Like, you have... Like, I think the lighter the ball has got compared to the lightness of the boot is probably matches up with how heavy the ball was 15 years ago as opposed to how heavy the boot was. So... everything's getting lighter. Do you know what I mean?
This just shows you how old you are. the balls weren't that heavy 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago was
The
2008.
yeah, well then it is old. So I'm talking 30 years ago. Whenever I think about it, all I can think is Moita Deltas.
Now you're going back to the 90s.
They were like concrete blocks hitting you in the cold. But no, I just don't know. Maybe I need to watch more football to see more deadly goals. But I don't. I always find when a stunning one goes in, it just goes viral. Whereas when stunning ones were going in 10 years ago, I was like, oh, there's another fucking one. Someone's hit that. Sure, remember your man last week? He got one the same. And I think they're just going out of the game. And I think it's down to the style. I think it's the way teams play. They like to keep the ball. They like to play it. They like to. They play percentages and odds. Even when they're even that close to the goal, and maybe that's what it is. And I'm just saying football. I'm just saying football is shy. That's basically.
If you go to the coaching academy, it's the coaching of winning now. And what are the odds of a long shot going in? So it's being two things are being coached out of the game gradually: shooting from distance and heading the ball. I mean, you look at, for example, a player like the worst centre forward I've seen in a long time, that Jackson tonight. Jackson had a header. But he's terrible. He had a header under the bar, literally under the bar at 1-0, and he's headed it straight at the Danish kid who likes to put on a big show that he's the muscle man, little man syndrome. Can't remember his name, but he's headed it straight at him.
Højbjerg.
Yeah, if you're practicing heading the ball from a yard out in training or from 5 yards, you're putting that in the bottom corner, like, for example, Didier Drogba, who was probably the last great header of a football, him and Ibrahimovic, to play at this level. That's gone. Heading is gone out of the game. The only people that head a ball properly now are centre halves. That's gone. That's gone out of the game. And shooting from distance is next. Because why? It's like you say, if you can isolate a fullback or isolate a centre half, get in behind them and roll it into the bottom corner. That's what and the quality of goalkeepers arguably is supposed to be better now. I mean, if you're looking at Alisson Becker, for example, you're thinking, what's the point? What's the point in having a knock from 30 yards? It's not going to happen. Yeah, so the randomness is getting coached out of it, to be honest. I mean, fullbacks, aren't really. They're contributing two goals, but from wider, higher positions, they're getting assists, but they're not. The Stuart Pearces are gone, who might get 10 goals in the season for you. Dennis Irwins are gone, who get goals.
But Pete, is that not a symptom where even down to taking shots from free kicks is less prevalent? So, like, nowadays, right. Ronaldo wouldn't have got to spend 10 years not scoring a free kick. Or even, let's give you a better one, Roberto Carlos went 22 years having scored only one free kick ever, right? And never scored a free kick after. Never scored a free kick. Scored a free kick in Toulon in 1997 and then never scored a free kick after that again, but took close to 14,000 free kicks across the course of his football career, like the outside of his left boot, right? And never scored one after that. So, you've got to think about it, like, now, when you think about free kicks now, where they would have been shots previously, they don't seem to be shots anymore. It's almost about, well, try work a different position, pull the defense this way, like, that's why sort of Trent was a bit of a throwback when I started seeing him getting the chance to take the free kicks, because he was good at it as well. That was great. And but yeah, it's like I wouldn't mind him taking a few free kicks because he seems to be able to kick the ball from far away.
That fella hits a ball, it stays hit, to be fair. But,
to be fair, Virgil can take a free kick as well.
He never gets them. He never gets on them. I mean, Salah gets on them, and I'm sorry, he can't hit them. I mean, every time Salah gets on a free kick, I'm like, why?
He can't for Egypt.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But again, but for me, as I said, there's a lot of things getting bored out of the game. I mean, it bores me. Sometimes you see a ball rolling across the 18-yard line and you just want to see someone hitting it. But then there's a couple of lads do hit it and it goes high and wide. And next of all, the manager's arms are going in the air. And I'm like, that's 18 yards out. What are you doing? Should be encouraging that. That's part of it as well. Lads aren't hitting it because they know if it doesn't go into the bottom or top corner, they're going to get an earful from him and maybe get dragged.
Do you know what else? Do you know what else as well? I think corner taking has gone down the fucking drain in the last few years as well. Yeah, I watched Newcastle against Arsenal the other day, and Arsenal got 3 corners in a row, right? And your man Trossard went to take them, right? And every single one, he put the ball down on the quadrant. He put his hand up in the air as if, I don't know what the fuck that is, right? And just proceeded to kick every single one of them. All 3 of them are just above waist height, and it didn't even get to the front post.
That's and what we did for years.
Why can't people, like, genuinely, right? If you want to score a goal from a corner, right, the chances are you need to put the ball between the posts for some fella to score. Unless you are hammering that head height at 1,000,000 miles an hour flat at that front post for a fella to come on and barely get a touch on him for it to win the goal. It has to go between the posts. And the amount of professional footballers that proceed to kick this fucking thing, like, they genuinely cannot kick the ball above head height. And what are we talking? 30 yards?
Yeah.
30 fucking yards.
I won't lie. Right? Remember, we went for the best part.
But you know what else, Phil? He puts his hand up, right? He puts his hand up, or else he puts his 2 hands up, whatever the fuck he does. But that's obviously a signal to, I'm going front, I'm going back, I'm going whatever, right? But the gas thing is, there isn't an Arsenal player to be seen where he kicks it. So I don't know what the fuck. I don't know whether they're misreading the signals or whether he's just shy of corners. But corners are desperate.
Honestly, right? So I remember being really frustrated about Liverpool. It must have been 2013, and just annoyed because we could never score off a corner for the best part of 50 years. We couldn't score off a corner. Even when we were winning everything in the 80s, we couldn't score off a corner. It was brutal, right? So when I went to Anfield, I actually walked from the corner flag. You know the way you can do the tour of the stadium? I just did the tour of the stadium because I wanted to walk the length from the corner flag to where the first post was to try figure out, is this unusually wide? Is there something funny about it? Is that an angle or whatever? And I couldn't get over how short the distance was. So then I started to think to myself, actually, because Anfield's not that wide of a pitch. It's like it's probably standard size, but it's when you're there, I couldn't get over how short the distance was between that and the near post.
Yeah,
and I just realised, like, they were too cute. If you think since Klopp has
I would say it's no more than 30 yards.
No more.
Yeah.
When you stand in the Kop or Anfield, right? If you stand in the Kop and Anfield, you'll see obviously you can see perfectly the full width of the pitch, and like the width from the sideline to the line of the box down the sides is not massive. Like, if you actually stand, you know the way you have the corner flag near the 10-yard marker on the end line. There's not a hell of a lot between that and the line of the box, and then from the line of that box in is probably another 15 yards. It's 30 yards to kick a football overhead height. That's all it is.
But they've developed this concept that they're going to plough it into the middle of that front post, right? Beat the first man, but just above head height. I think to get this fascination that they're just going to put it over his head, right? And someone's going to come barreling into that near post and bury it into the top corner. When in reality, most of the best corners are often whipped to the back post for someone to put it back across the goal. And
the last real threat that we had, besides the likes of Virgil van Dijk, and I don't see him enough from corners, was Sami Hyypiä. Sami Hyypiä was lethal.
Skirtle, the people in the chat there are saying Skirtle as well.
No, I'm not having that. Skirtle was crap at everything.
Skirtle scored loads of goals with his head.
Skirtle was brutal.
He scored a last-minute equaliser against Arsenal. He scored two against Arsenal. He scored against City at Anfield.
And Arsenal.
He scored a volley away at City. Mind you, he put a few to his own net as well, though.
No, Hyypiä was lethal. Sammy was lethal. And
I'm just saying. I just wanted to bring it to people's attention that the whopper goals are going out of football, and corners are a fucking disgrace. Actually, do you know what they should do? If the ball doesn't clear the front post, the referee just blows and gives a free out.
Free out?
Yeah, free out. And do you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for fucking magic lines to appear on the pitch now, and in the next 5 years, right, anywhere between the 18-yard line and say the edge of the centre circle, where the tip of the centre circle to the edge of the D, that's just got a light up, neon lighting on it when a player gets in there, and it's like, you shoot and score up there, it's 2. You know what I mean? Because it's going to get that bad. I'm telling you, it's going to get that fucking bad that people are going to go, nobody's shooting anymore.
Hang on. Could you imagine the level of decisions that would be arsed up if trying to implement that? right? If they can't even get if a fella's onside or offside or push the fella.
Oh no, I'm not going for VAR. I'm literally going for a fella. Right? Where like on the telly, right? Mm-hmm. When you're watching American football, the imaginary fucking line to get the force down, right? It's imaginary. Like people think it's real. It's not.
No,
right?
no, it's drawn on the screen.
It's drawn on the screen, and when it goes down the pitch side, it's just a fella with a big stake going, right? A big stick, right? A big shepherd stick. What I'm saying is, I'm not looking for VAR. I think what we should do is just have a fella, right? Just one fella. Doesn't have to be fucking anyone, right? Pick them at random, sitting at home, wherever he wants, right? And they just put the technology in from, and his telly just lights up with this on it. And when it goes, is that 2 goals? He's just smoking, and he just goes, yeah, that's 2, right? And he just gets on the ref, that's 2, and everyone's going bananas. He's like, it's fucking 2. I'm the only one with the technology. It's 2. That's what I think should happen.
It's 2. So, I said so. That's the end. Now, Gav, imagine how many shows would be about. Your man just said that. Your man's a United fan. Like, honestly, that's all you get, right? You need if you're going to do this. I like to light up the idea, right? But it's motion sensitive, so it has to when you go into it. There's nobody pressing a button or anything.
But you see, there's a thing in the football now that tells you if it's over the line or not. So what you can do is you can program this.
That's where you're wrong.
You can program this football. You can program a chip in this football, right? That when it gets into these zones, right? Yeah. When it gets into these zones, on the pitch, on the screen, boom, imaginary this big thing comes up like in American football. And everyone knows, it's a 2-pointer here if he has a belt, right? And it has to go straight in. Any deflections don't count. It's from the time it hits the ball. I'm going completely off tangent here, but I'm just telling you that football's gone mad. Whopper goals aren't here enough. So this is where it's going to end up.
What about South America, though?
Did you watch the Libertadores final?
Great. The lads are mad.
I didn't watch it live. I watched extended highlights of it because the lads were telling me absolute bananas, right?
It's just crazy, isn't it?
It's just a different game. It's amazing. It's fucking insane. Your man scores that goal. It's a bleeding great goal. You're off. Good luck. What? Yeah. You got in the crowd, fuck off, we don't care, get off. You know what I mean? And there's 100,000 people in America now ready to bleed and kill the referee. It's a different game over there.
That's a great show. Instead of the D lighting up, the ball lights up. So you can activate a power play on the ball. Bang! The ball is red and away you go. I like that one, yeah. I like this. But the manager should have
maybe the lights dim in the stadium slightly, Maybe the lights dim in the stadium, so like like when it's like in the films where will they make this shot and it's like boom, 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 and everything kind of goes a bit dim. Maybe we could do that and then just lash the lights on real fucking bright again. Then all the LEDs on there.
Hang on. What about here's an idea, right? The manager gets 1 power play per game, right? Each manager gets 1 power play per game, and if you score off it, you get to have another one, right?
Yeah.
So you hit the button, right? But you can't hit the power. There's no power plays allowed inside the.
But this is where it's going to go.
It can only
your man's doing it. Your man's doing it. What's his name? The fella used to play for Barcelona. He's doing the mad 7-a-side football. There's fellas in masks and all playing it.
Jared PK.
Yeah. And there's a fella playing in a mask because apparently he's still a professional footballer, but he's having the crack with PK. 7-a-side, ball is in the middle. When you blow the whistle, he's all run towards the ball to see who gets it and all. Mad stuff. But I'm telling you, when you look at the rules around rugby and different things, the way they change things to make it more exciting. Football's going to go that way. I'm telling you, it's going to go that way.
I like the idea of power play with lighty up ball. The only problem you have is that when the Saudi Arabians and the Qatari lads buy extra power plays in a match that we aren't aware of, that'll annoy us.
When they're buying extra square footage of the imaginary lighting, that's
imaginary lighting. Well, they get 2 buttons, and then because that's why I prefer South American football. I only mentioned it to Keith and Shawnee on Saturday night. It's much better watching games where there's none of that involved, isn't it? It's like where it's just pure football.
This was madness. I was watching the extended highlights and I was just like, this is their business. And now I know why Keith loves it. Keith watches it religiously. I think it was deadly.
Pure.
Anyway, I'll go back to the drawing board. I may come back next week with a list of power play rules that would make them into football. I think as an alternative to football, I think this might be the crack. That's all I'm saying.
Sort of football. We call it sort of ball.
Just sort of ball we call it, and I'll be back to you.
Okay, right, Grant. We'll keep that in mind. We'll look forward to it next week. We might be able to get into the next World Games. If
there you
go.
Well, if shit lights up and you get power plays,
hang on, Pete. You're laughing, right? Because nobody cares about
the World Games was whopper.
Because nobody cares about athletics or any of those sports that are in the Olympics anymore. They've now started binning the sports, and they're starting to put things like flag American football into the Olympics. Lots of
but they're a bit. The War Games are a little bit cheaty, aren't they, Phil? Because there's definitely there was definitely was it the field hockey, and they just called it stickball. It was the exact same thing. They just didn't.
Robin sport.
They just couldn't call it hockey. They're just robbing it and calling it a different name. And then they had car parks in Birmingham, Alabama, and they just put a lot of blue carpet down and went, that's the
roller rink.
That's the roller rink. It was fucking incredible. It's only every 4 years.
Yeah, we're not going to do speed skating. We're going to do roller skating on a car park in Alabama in a random building beside
on blue carpet.
On blue carpet, and that's all you need. I can't wait to the next World Games. I'm going to.
Is it 4 years away?
4 years away.
Every 2 years,
No, it could be 3. It's the World Games. They choose
whatever they want.
Yeah.
Once they having a War Games,
once they can get a host city to host it, we're going for it. The only problem is that's the type of things the Saudi Arabians will rob as well. Like your head will be wrecked, right? They take all the good things.
You can take our World Cups, but leave our World Games alone.
Leave the World Games alone. They'll have that massive spaceship thing.
I would consider going to the World Games for 2 to 3 weeks
for that sport.
Just going around some town / city in America. What?
Remember the canoe marathon?
Yeah, it was fucking insane.
Where there was no end.
And there was
it was long. It was basically an elimination race. So you just kept canoeing.
Whoever lasted the longest in a canoe. It was brilliant. Anyway, go on, my way off topic. Go on, where are you going?
Well, talk about the War Games. I just want to talk about how Eddie Howe is a goblin. That's basically what I want to talk about, right?
Okay.
I'm really annoyed. Not annoyed, but I keep seeing him in press conferences and interviews, and his face, it's morphed. It's like he's been taken to a Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movie, and they're gradually disfiguring his face into something weird. And there's a hint of Steve Bruce starting to come through. If you look, it's almost like the Saudi Arabian lads have taken him off.
It's like his face is melting, isn't it?
It is pure evil. It's pure evil. Once you're intoxicated by pure evil, you start to turn ugly. True.
Well, here's the thing. I thought the Newcastle lads who've taken over have started doing body snatching, where they get lookalikes to come in and replace the people who are there, and you start thinking, did they always look like that, or have they started changing recently?
Yeah, there's plenty of bodies to spare.
The same thing is happening with Eddie Howe, but I can't. This guy has literally no opinion on anything ever about anything to do with anything that he's ever asked, right? But always has an opinion when nobody asks him, right? And he'll say whatever he needs to say to get whatever response he likes out of the press, who seem to like him. Because if Eddie Howe was Edvaldo Howendo, right, he'd be getting chased out of England by all the press at this stage, right? The only fact is he managed Bournemouth, landed the Newcastle job because nobody who was going to buy the club.
That's a feel-good story. Feel-good story to hear, you know?
Oh, he's like, honest to God, I'm surprised that I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the league managers, the LMA thing, because I'd say the level of hate that's going to be in that room with so many of them is going to be off the charts. But for me anyway, the head of him, he just looks like the Green Goblin out of Spider-Man. Do you know, if you actually look at that face, it sort of tweets into and it's like you can see he's so
ugly. But it's what I believe, Phil. We're joking about it, but it's what happens when you're conflicted. I believe that people are intrinsically good, but when you're faced by something that's just raw, horrible, and you have to, face it out to the public, I think it conflicts you on the inside and starts to twist you a little bit. I think that's why, because Eddie Howe, nice looking fella, I'd say good, decent looking lad. He's starting to twist a little bit because he knows that's what happens. I think that all that ugliness, stuff that you have to listen to every day, people that you have to have meetings with every day, knowing full well that these people are a head chopping regime and that a lot of your own fan base are alienated to it. So you start to twist you. Probably he's having conversations at home with his wife and his kids, and they're probably of age looking at him going, how can you work for those people? They're absolute monsters. That's the reality of it. And it starts to twist you and conflict you if you're anyway decent. And which he obviously is by nature. But it grabs you and it twists you. What happens?
Gav actually looks like his name is Eduardo Howendo these days.
Let's go back.
Kev says the 2025 World Games is in Chengdu, China. I'm not going to China.
No, thanks.
No.
I'd be on for that.
No, I want it in America.
Why?
The World Games should always be in America.
I don't know for sure, Gav.
It's the best place on earth for madness.
Well, on the basis that
I'll tell you why it should be in America. Because, right, if there's a sport, sorry, we go back on. I'll answer Eddie Howe now in a minute, right? But if there's a sport in the world that you want to make up, right, just make it up. Just fucking listen, lads. Throw tennis balls over your head, and whoever lands them most in that fucking paddle pool over there wins. You can guarantee the Americans are going to call themselves world champions at it, right? Of
course they will.
So the World Game should be in America, right? It's accessible. They'll go around any sort of sport you bring to them. They'll be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm all in because I'll be world champion. Mate, they only play it literally in your town, nowhere else in the world. I don't give a fuck, I'm world champion. And you can get behind that. So China can fuck off. We wait till 2027 because it was 2023 the last one, wasn't it?
I'm all for spreading out to the yoke. It's like, but you can imagine like what the.
Gav looks like he's addicted to chewing tobacco and manages Chef here Wednesday.
In 1983.
Oh God.
Now, back to the point on
Eddie Howe.
On where the war game should be held.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Eddie Howe. He is the Green Goblin, and everyone's asking William Dafoe. I'll give you that, but with the mask on, right? Yeah. Like, he just. I can't stand the Newcastle team. It's ruining football. It's ruining everything, right? And he's the figurehead of it. You can say whatever you want. He's the figurehead of what it is. He has no backbone. Hasn't stood up for anything. And as far as he's concerned, everything's all right. And he's loving the press where they're talking about how Eddie Howe has created a miracle at Newcastle, and it's really annoying me. Really annoying me.
I've never liked Eddie Howe.
I did.
Never liked him. Never liked him. I thought he was manager of Bournemouth. You see, the thing about Eddie Howe was manager of Bournemouth, right? Fucked them off, went to Burnley, right? Got homesick in fucking Burnley, right? When he was like from Bournemouth, which is probably about 200 miles, right? Madness. Went back to Bournemouth. And I always thought, whenever I seen him, I always thought, and Phil, you touched on it there, he always felt like he'd nothing interesting to say. Ever, right? Now, he goes to Newcastle, and I think he goes to Newcastle, probably think he's on a bit of a hide into nothing. Because Newcastle are a basket case club. He's brought in, and you're thinking, he'll do okay. He'll get 6 months to a year. They'll bin him off, and they'll go fucking madness. Which may still happen, by the way. Because what happens is, when you get a bit of success, you want more and more, and you go bigger and bigger and bigger. Go back and look at the previous Man City managers that have won league titles, right? I'm dying to see what I'm laughing at now. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Why are you squealing like a pig?
So,
what are you laughing at?
One of the sports in the next World Games is casting, right?
Casting.
Hang on.
It's not how far you can get the fishing rod out into the lake, is it?
Sort of, except there's no lake. You put a stone on the end of the rod.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. No, I'm not having it. But if anyone doesn't know, go up and look up the list of sports in the last World Games. It was phenomenal. But anyway, Eddie Howe. So, Eddie Howe then, you see, he's the wrong person to put in charge of Newcastle if you want to have someone to defend yourself. And maybe he's the right person at the same time because he's just not capable of it. Right? So he just sits there looking like a fucking tick, and that'll get you away with most things. In fairness, I think he's done a really, really good job with the players he's brought in. They haven't gone absolutely rasher with money yet. They haven't, in fairness to them. And what I would say is, because of their previous owner, Mike Ashley, and his lack of spend over the last 3 to 5 years before they were taken over, they had every right to go and spend. upwards of 300-400 million without being touched with regards to FFP. Now, having said that, now they're in Europe, they're going to be judged on every 3 years, but they're probably waiting to see what happens, Man City, before they go and do anything, right? But you can see these sponsors coming in. They're sponsored by short sponsor is Saudi. The sleeve sponsor is Saudi. There's got it's just Saudi Airlines are now coming in, and there's all sorts going on. But the biggest thing with me for Eddie Howe is I think Phil hit the nail on the head. He can't answer a question. He cannot answer a fucking question. And when he's asked about who owns Newcastle Football Club, the country that they're associated with, he actually comes off better than some other managers, because other managers go, no, blah, 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 and then you go, well, he's fucking shite now of him. But he actually comes across as a bit of an idiot. And that's what gets him away with it. On the pitch, he's done really well. You cannot deny that. And it's not like he's gone out and bought 10, 70 million pound footballers. He hasn't when you look through the team. But I think what's going to kill him is when it comes down to it, they'll want a bigger name. They'll want a bigger name and a bigger name and a bigger name, and he'll get binned and he'll be back managing somebody, and we'll see how it goes.
And then he'll write a book about it, about the crooked raid. They call him. Listen, the whole thing is sick. I mean, Newcastle were probably everybody's second or third favourite club. Everybody liked Newcastle. They were my favourite team to beat this year. The way we beat them, it was just great. It couldn't have. It just, from 1 minute to 90, it just couldn't have happened in a better way. I absolutely despise him, and the look on him, and that Tyndall idiot as well was great. I hope, honestly, and then Tonali getting done the way he got done,
But the Tonali one is weird, because if I'm Newcastle, I'm asking questions. Did you fucking know about this before we signed them? And that's a bit of a mad one. But can we just get back to these World Games, because there's just loads coming in about it. Ashley says, Phil, have you seen the dragon boat race they're proposing for 2025?
Yeah, but dragon boating shouldn't be a strange thing. We have a dragon boat, an Irish dragon boat association.
What's a dragon boat race?
It's basically a boat with people rowing in it, right? But instead of having the oars affixed to the side like we'd normally see with it, right? It's like a Hawaiian 5-0 row.
Oh,
but it's in those Chinese boats that look like they have a dragon's tail and a dragon's head in it.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, it fits well with the World Games thing, because it's just it's a sport that looks like a sport, but it's just the same sport with a different name. But casting, lads, I'm broken over casting.
Just reckons the World Games main event is 120 meter air guitar race. I have an idea, right? I have an idea for a sport for it, right? You listen to this, right?
Yeah.
So, I remember doing this when I was a kid, right? Don't ask me why, right? But do you remember they used to get the plastic golf sets? Plastic, the kids ones you get in the shops, and you get the plastic golf balls with them.
Yeah,
right.
They didn't go anywhere.
Right, yeah, right. But the golf clubs were shy with them, right? So I remember me and a mate of mine years ago. What we used to do was we used to put the ball on a tee in the garden, right? And then about 30 yards across the road was like a little patch of grass, right? Yeah. And what we do is we put on a tee, but we hit the ball with a tennis racket. Do you get me? So imagine a tennis racket in your hand, the ball on the tee.
The little plastic ball.
Yeah, but you swing the tennis racket like you'd swing a golf club. So the ball comes off the strings and it goes flying in the air. You have to try to get it across the road to land on this pitch of grass.
I have it.
I'd be
golf.
Tennis balls.
Racket golf.
Racket
That's
golf.
what it is. Yeah.
Racket golf.
But no, you're not trying to get it in the hole. You're not trying to get it in the hole. You're just trying to get it into a circle zone. 10 points for this, 10 points. And then what you could do is you could have, like, if it's not really windy out, you could have, like, fans on. And they could be swinging, and you have to time it so the ball doesn't get fucking deviated. No.
Do you not think
racquetball.
Eddie Howe is AliExpress Brendan Rodgers? Like, that's, to me, that's what he always has been, right? And I know it's like
Brendan Rodgers is a lot more intelligent than him.
But this is my point. He's AliExpress Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has managed Liverpool and Celtic, right? He's gotten to managing the Champions League, and he's had relative success. He finished runners-up in the league with Liverpool, right? And he made a name for himself. But he has an interesting line in verbiage when he talks to the press, and as a fan of the club, he doesn't offend anyone, and he's not afraid to make statements, as we know, right? Whereas Eddie Howe is like all that removed, and he hasn't got the teeth done.
Yeah, because when you ask a question, he just kind of goes. When you ask him a question, he just goes, and he kind of keeps tucking his chin into his chest while he's talking, and then he's just finished. Red Steve says there's already a game where you hit a ball with a tennis racket, but not a golf ball, not a plastic golf ball. This is like World Games level. This isn't like you know, like I'd love to see lads putting up that, you know, with the fucking top of the range tennis rackets tuned to the max to try to hit this plastic ball. If anyone has any more,
well, can I've another suggestion, right? So, because the War Games operates on its own calendar, so you're thinking 2022, 2025. The next one isn't until 2029, right? So the
2027.
No, 2029. It's not
the War Games is on in 2025.
2025, yeah, but then it's not on again until 2029.
Why?
They're having a break.
Fuck, what do you mean a break? The fucking thing is every two. There's 104 weeks between each one.
There's not, because the last one was 2017, and then there wasn't another one until 2022. It's on its own random cycle.
2023, the last one.
No, it actually fits with, right? It has to fit with the rotation of Mars around the sun. So it's very important.
There has to be one in 2027.
There isn't, because and we could actually launch a bid for the World Cup. Everyone's going mad about the European Championships. I'm saying bin the European Championships and let's go as the host city for the War Games in 2029. Gav, Dublin could be the host city for the War Games in 2029.
No, I don't want it in Dublin. I want it in fucking Texas. I want it in Texas, America. I want to go where people just fucking just are mad into it. Dublin wouldn't be mad into it. Dublin is shite. Right?
Dublin is mad into anything that's told to be mad into.
No, like they're not. They're not.
They are.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. Not on this level.
Yeah.
Not on this level. Yeah. I want it. It was in Birmingham, Alabama the last time. I want it in something in Texas or fucking somewhere mad in Seattle or like, you know, Sheboygan or fucking something name like that, you know.
Sheboygan is down in Cork.
That's Sheboygan.
There you go.
Sheboygan. I want it there. I want it in one of these places. You know what I mean? Ashley says, "Isn't a plastic golf ball another name for a ping pong ball?" No, ping pong balls are hard and they bounce real high. Plastic golf balls are literally hollow.
Ping pong balls have a much higher air pressure ratio inside the ball itself, whereas this has a hole in it, so it can't go far. What Gav was proposing is the ability to do something it's not meant to do, which is to hit the ball, the tiny little plastic ball, as hard as you can with a racket to make it go as far as you possibly can.
But controlling it.
Controlled.
Controlled to get it into a zone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like, if tying a brick or a stone to the end of a string and casting it like a fucking fisherman's rod to land in a field to see who the winner is, because whoever gets it the first is a goer. I think mine's a goer. Do you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. But Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, says O'Sheen. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I want to rock up to there with a bag of cans going, "What's the story, lads? What's on here today?" And they're all bleeding. They're all having barbecues on the back of their fucking cars and
exactly. An episode of, you know.
I've actually got a brilliant idea, Gav, because everyone is in the space now of twin cities and everything. Why don't we twin with Dublin, Texas, to host the War Games in 2029, and it could be a dual city thing.
Right.
So we can do a couple of events.
No, right? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll duel with Dublin, Texas. Is it Texas?
Yeah.
Right. We'll duel with them, right? But we'll ask them. We'll ring Dublin and Texas and say, "Listen, lads, do you fancy holding the War Games?" Right? And I guarantee it, we'll get the backing of all of Dublin and Ireland on the back of it, and they'll say yeah. And then we go over there for it. And why is it in 2029? It should be in 2027. Like, these are my cunts, aren't they? Like, they just go, "We're having it this year. We'll have it in 2025. We take 4 years off then."
Yeah.
Well, see, for me, like the Dublin, Texas will be a great home for the War Games, and
so do I.
But we could have some of the events here, like the casting event. I want to go see casting. I just want to see this in reality, in real life. I miss
Jerry
it.
says it's not Dublin, Ohio. There's Dublins everywhere in North America.
There's Dublins everywhere. But come here, Dublin, Texas, for anyone that's watching is very important because Dublin, Texas, right, is the original home of Dr. Pepper, and it was known as Dublin Dr. Pepper, right? It's the oldest known factory for making Dr. Pepper in the world, so that's why Dublin, Texas is so famous. And there was a big court case between Dr. Pepper and Dublin Dr. Pepper in terms of what was going on, because it's a slightly different recipe and it's meant to be much nicer. Yeah. And then Dr. Pepper put Dublin Dr. Pepper out of business because that's what they did. Because that's what the court was.
Or someone like Wyoming or something. One of these places I know nothing about. I just know the name. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, can we go?
Well, now, Wyoming's a state. Wyoming's a state, like.
Yeah, well, somewhere in there.
All right, Grant. Okay, cool. So the last but not least, quick fire round. Put 180 seconds on the clock, Gav.
Oh, jeez, I don't have a clock. Hold on. Let me see if
Grant,
I can do something.
We'll just make one up. It's 7 minutes past.
No, hold on.
10 past 7. Okay, go.
Hold on. What do you want? You want 1 minute 30 seconds, do you?
Whatever, yeah. 1 minute 30 seconds is not 3 minutes, but go on anyway.
Okay. Go.
We could have the Irish lacrosse team play in Ireland against the team from Dublin, Texas. Then the two teams would be in two different countries at the same time, and we'd have to recreate what's going on one pitch across the globe and the other pitch. I think it's brilliant today. Pete, give me something good or something bad that happened the weekend. Quick.
Something bad that happened the weekend. Luton Town.
Grant. Gav, have anything else pop up to you that you liked about the weekend?
Well, the Luton statement today is appalling. I will say that much. Anything else over the weekend? There wasn't really much, no. There wasn't really much going on. I feel sorry for Wolves because every time they step on the pitch, the Premier League just go, we're not having a bar to you. There's a penalty for the other team. Right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter what happens. And I don't know what pictures Gary O'Neill has of fucking something or somebody or whatever, because every time Spurs step on the pitch, they are absolutely screwed beyond recognition by the Premier League and stuff like that. So there you go.
For me, I think Jude Bellingham, I hope he never plays in England because it's so great to watch that kid play football. It's just...
Yeah, he's magnificent.
He's magnificent.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope he changes nationality and plays for a different country so he can actually want to win something and do something really well.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. I want to give a shout out to AC Milan, who I had in our syndicate bet this week. Home to Udinese, didn't bother that bollocks. Got beaten 1-0. Disgusting club. And I won't be picking them again for the rest of the season. Oh, can I give a shout out to someone else actually now that I think of it?
Go on.
Somebody beat, I want to say it was a Swindon. They were 7-0 up in the FA Cup. It ended 7-4. I think it was Swindon. But they were 7-0 up away to
Swindon. No, all the shot away to Swindon.
Yeah, and they were 7-0 up. They won a 7-4 in the end. And your man Charlie Austin is playing for Swindon, which I didn't know. Yeah. And Adam Lafondra plays for a team in Scotland. There's one for the ages.
Adam Lafondra. That's
You know what? Can I ask? I want to ask the group before we go. Did Ange Postecoglou, whatever his name is, did he say that we need to accept mistakes as part and parcel?
No, we're all going out to feast on that now, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm not. I will. I'll have a good look at it. But I believe Gary Neville has said some mad stuff after the game. But Shawnee has sent me a voice message on it, so I will listen to that afterwards. Sorry, I forgot to play this.
We're in showbiz, baby.
That was just for the end of the 90 seconds, and I know it's Phil's favourite thing. Can I just say one thing before we go? Memberships are open for the YouTube channel. You can get on them now, $3.99 a month. You will get 3 shows free every week regardless. You will get every show downloaded the following day regardless. But if you want to see from anywhere from 3 to 5 live shows per week as a member, it's $3.99 a month. If you can help us out, absolutely brilliant. Hit the join button, all that sort of stuff. Sorry, Phil.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, and Movember. The link is in the description. There's not enough people donating, and I'm saying it now. Actually, I'm saying it now, right?
I'm going to say
no. Hold on, John. I'm saying it now, right? What I'm saying is, right? It's better all fucking donate to me for growing this moustache, right? Because I swear to God, every person I know in this world, right, that has ever asked me for anything, right, if they don't donate to me for this, I'm not doing anything for them ever again. And
Where's
I mean
the link?
That. ever again. It's in the show description. You click on it, you can put £1 into it, £2, 50 pence, whatever you want. I want to see everyone's name in there, because the next time anyone asks me to do anything for them, I'm going to go, no, he knew about that Movember, or she knew about it, and she didn't donate to me, because I can see all the names, and I'm not doing that for them anymore.
Gav, can you put 80s Gav back in the box and bring back modern Gav? No, he's not.
Can I just say, hang on, Pete, can I just say, I think I commend you and Shawnee for doing Movember, but I think your efforts so far have been farcical and a joke to the idea that it's Movember.
Relax there, Eamon.
Right? And I think what you should have done, Gavin, is you both should have gone clean shaven on day 1 of Movember, and then you grow up gradually as it goes through. As a long-standing member of the, you have not. It's not. I seen Sean's. I seen the pictures of the two of you on day 1. You both have full on tashes. It's a disgrace, and I want to see something.
I shaved last Wednesday. And I was on the show, or Tuesday, and I was on the show Wednesday with like a tiny little moustache. Look at me. What day is today? What day is today? I shaved on Saturday night. It's fucking Monday night now, look.
It is, yeah. It is.
Well, it is. It's definitely Monday night.
It is, yeah.
It's 10 past 11.
Shocking. I remember one year I did Movember, and for the last day, I went into... No, I won't tell that story. I'll tell you that off air.
Yeah, don't tell us that one. Don't tell us that one.
I had to explain to everyone in work I was actually Charlie Chaplin. Anyway, right, so that's been the show.
Yeah.
We've had a great night and a great chat, and it's time to end the show. See us all next week, and we gotta go.
War games, man.
It's a joke, innit? It's actually a joke that they're fucking taking a break. Anyway, good luck.
It's deadly. 2029.